$10 million. That's right. $10 million is the new financing initiative that has been put in place by the SBA, the Small Business Administration. Will your business be one of the businesses that get access to this $10 million? Welcome to another episode of the Never Lose a Deal podcast. I am your host, Lorillia Brown Phillips, and on this podcast, I help people just like you, real estate investors as well as business owners, increase and expand their real estate portfolio. And that is what we are talking about today in the Never Lose a Deal podcast. We're talking about SBA loans. Now, if you are a small business owner, you may not know this, so let me be the first one to tell you. Now, before I go into what I want to talk about in today's podcast, based on my podcast data, analytics, whatever you want to call it, I've noticed that the SBA conversation is always a popular conversation. And when it comes to the numbers, the SBA conversation has been very popular. And so I'm glad that I get to add to this conversation again. I have talked about the SBA in past episodes of how it is a leveraging tool for real estate investors as well as small business owners. And the reason why I talk about it being a leveraging tool, but I always like to put this disclaimer out here that the SBA financing that many real estate investors do leverage, SBA finance does not let you invest in real estate, but it does allow you to buy real estate. And that is a big difference. And I'm not going to go into it in this podcast episode, but I have gone through that distinction in the past, and I will put it underneath this video. If you're listening on one of the podcast platforms, it'll be in the show notes, but if you are watching on YouTube, I'll make sure that I put it underneath this video. And the reason why I wanted to make that distinction is because of the new initiative. So pretty much the SBA, Small Business Administration, has increased the limits for the 7A and the 504 SBA financing program. So that means that in the past it was a lower amount, and now between the two, you can get $5 million apiece, which will take you up to $10 million. Now, unfortunately, in this episode, I'm not going to talk about all the bells and whistles of the program. But I do want to share with you that if you are going to take part in this wealth initiative, there are some things that you want to avoid. And the reason why I wanted to give a different take on it is because now with the, use of AI and a lot of information online, what happens is that a lot of information is just amplified. And so in order for me to not try to push through the noise of what SBA is or what have you, there's plenty of resources that you can tap into to help you. As always on this show, many of the individuals who come to me, their main goal is to be able to build out their real estate portfolio, financing being part of it. But I will say this, that many of them do not come to me and say, I am looking for SBA financing. The individuals that we talk to or that I work with, they want to be able to feel a need, and that need is to build out the portfolio. The financing mechanism that is part of it is something that they are open to, and at times the SBA conversation may come up, but it's not a conversation that starts with I want SBA, because at the SBA financing is a very layered topic. I get that there are a lot of people who will tell you online that it's just a matter of going to SBA.gov and you can just get a loan. Someone like myself, I am not just a talking head. I actually do originate SBA loans with several banking partners. So I'm not someone who's just kind of talking about it, because I did a search on any of the AI platforms. This is from, as always, like I say in all other episodes, it's just based on my experience of how SBA financing works with the banking partners that I work with. And so let's get into it. So, as I said, um, I want to give a different take. I want to talk about three things that you want to avoid if you are certain that you want to take part in this wealth transfer of SBA financing. And as I mentioned to you, three things that you want to avoid. And I'm going to be straight to the point, no chaser. I'm not here to give you a very salacious viewpoint about it. That's up for you to decide when you go and get the financing yourself. Um, and so let's get into it. Now, if you see me looking down, it's because I want to make sure I stay on task. So I want to make sure that I am uh, touching on the points that I want to touch on. So, number one, if you have a desire to be able to take part in this wealth transfer, this financing, the first thing you want to be certain on is clarity. And the reason why I said why you want to avoid not being clear. So that's why clarity is certain. Um, the reason why clarity is important and you want to avoid not being clear is because this is the number one reason, which is why many people do not be. Let me just be honest. Why most people are not, like, I'm going to be honest with you. Most people will not be able to get access to this financing pool that's out there. The reason why is because they're trying to mirror it to um, a natural disaster, or something that is similar to the pandemic. If you remember during the pandemic, when you wanted to get the SBA financing, which was the PPP loans, you went on the SBA website. And so many people think that now that is the number one way that you get the financing. And unfortunately, that's not how it works. The SBA.gov website does give you some resources, some information. But if you want to actually get the actual financing, you need to talk to either a broker or a lending institution or the CDFIs. And so the reason why I bring all those three individuals up is because, going back to clarity, who are you? Meaning, where are you in business? Are you a new business owner, or are you a business owner that currently has a business now? The reason why I want to make that distinction is because many of the submissions that I get from people, and it's usually from people online, is someone who took some type of workshop or master class, and they have never did business before a day in their life, but someone has told them that they can be a millionaire by buying existing business, and the SBA will write a check to them and they will become a millionaire. This podcast is not to go into if that's true or not, but this is what I am saying. Know where you are. If you are that person who's brand new, you ain't never ran a business, but you want to run a business, I believe that your best approach to getting the financing is through a CDFI. And I don't mean that the CDFI, the financing is easier, but there are other resources they provide. Many CDFIs, for those who don't know what a CDFI is, a community development financial institution. So a lot of times they are affiliated with a local SBA office. And a lot of times they provide workshops, classes, coaching, as well as many other microloan programs that a banking partner may not provide, or a broker, as well as the hand holding. So if you know that you are very new in business, and like I said, I'm not here to say that that master class you were on that's promising you to be a millionaire is not going to work, but this is where I'm noticing where the clarity is missing, is that most people, and this is the power of indoctrination. If you are, because I am the biggest cheerleader when a person says, hey, I'm a big advocate of return to sender. I'm a big advocate of, if someone has indoctrinated you into their world to believe that this is a way that you can get something, by all means, you soak up everything that they have. You take their class, you do their coaching, and if you truly believe in your heart of hearts that they are going to get you to your goal, by all means, you do it. But this is this is the problem that I'm noticing what people are doing. And that's why clarity is so important. And what you want to do is avoid not being clear. They're indoctrinated into the information that the person's providing, whether it's a masterclass, coaching, or whatever it is. And because a lot of the information is missing, now they're looking for someone else to kind of fill in the holes of the information that they were given. Once again, lack of clarity. My thing is this: if you feel in your heart of hearts that that person is providing you with everything that you need, have them to fill in the holes. But if it's a case of, hey, I took this master class or whatever, and it made me aware of something that I did not even know, okay, this is part of the many things that I'm going to need to get me to my goal. Once again, being clear. I know my goal is this. I've never had a business before. I want to have a business, but I don't quite know what's the in between. Well, then of course, yeah, maybe use that, and also some other things in between. But if you know you are there, a CDFI will work best for you, because once again, it's the resources they provide. Many, and I can only talk about the ones that are in New Jersey, because I've never dealt with CDFIs outside of the state. But like I said, the ones here in New Jersey, they provide workshops. I've even have gotten CDF financing in the past. And yes, that loan program was financed by the SBA or what have you, but it was a micro program that they had, and you wouldn't have knew that they had it if you were not a part of that world. And a lot of times, what does that world look like? Maybe you were part of an organization, and they came and they spoke and they told you about it. The point that I'm making is that those are the places that will help you get clear, so you won't not have clarity. So that's number one. Be very clear of where you're at, because the business owners who are running a business are not sitting around trying to figure out all the micro pieces to the SBA program. That's why I said those are the people that I serve. They're clear on their goal. This is how I'm going to get there. And maybe SBA may do it, maybe another loan program may do it, but at the end of the day, is this going to get me closer to my goal? That's what they're concerned about, not the intricate pieces of tell me everything that I need to know about the SBA program. So clarity is key. So you want to avoid not being clear. The number two, coaching, consulting, or financing. Very important. Number one, it would probably fall under still clarity, but many people don't know if they need a coach, if they want consulting, or if they just want the financing. Financing is really easy. Once again, going to use the master class because most people have taken a master class, they're doing some online coaching or what have you, and then the person gives them this great idea. Why don't you just go to Chat GPT or Google and figure out, ask Google to tell you where you can find SBA lenders. And you do that, go to Chat, go to Google, find a list of SBA lenders. And don't get me wrong, those SBA lenders, those banks or what have you are ready for your business because banks want to close loans. Like there ain't no shortage of money. I say that all the time. There's no shortage of money. But a lot of times people don't even think people don't even really need financing because that's the easy part. If you just need to get a term sheet, know what the terms are, and then move to the next step, that's the easy part. But the problem is that most people, once again, which is part of what this show is about, create a finance. They think that the lending partner, the bank, the broker is going to help them put a deal together creatively. And I tell people all the time, the deal, and as much as this is, it's not popular because most people feel like they're going to just go get the money. The money is the easy part. Put the deal together. You should already have the deal together, and you know how you want to creatively put it together. Once you know how you want to creatively put the deal together, the money part is not the hard piece. But what I'm finding is that most people think that it is the broker's job, the lending partner, or the bank's job to help them put the deal together. So what is very popular and very common on the internet is now people telling people they can get a laundromat and become a millionaire. And by all means, that is a lucrative industry and it will work. But what nobody is going to do is help you put that deal together to get now will they finance the deal? 100%. No problem. 100%, but they're not going to help you put the deal together. So that's why I say, do you need a coach? Because you may just need a coach that's going to help you step by step on how to do it, where to find the deals or what have. Most people have gotten that. They're attending a master class, part of some type of group or whatever. And okay, you've had your coach. Once again, goes back to I am the biggest person to tell you return to sender. If you have your coach and you have your guru, your influencer who's telling you, they should be able to do soup to nuts as well as the financing. But what I find is that the financing piece is never the piece that they tell them how to get. Because unfortunately, no one can guarantee the financing piece. Even if they say, hey, go to Ron Smith at this particular bank and Ron Smith will make sure that I have the relationship. I know Ron Smith. I have his cell phone. I have his email. He's at this bank. I can put you right in touch with Ron Smith. If Ron Smith is being compliant, yes, I'm going to put my compliance officer hat on now. He knows that he can't guarantee that you can definitely get an SBA loan. That's all. That's if Ron Smith is following the rules of the banking institution. He knows he can't do that. The only thing that Ron Smith can say is that he can take you through the loan process. However, he words it, every lending institution has a different name. I mean, have a different process, and you can go from that. But he cannot guarantee you're going to get the loan. So that's the missing piece, that people hire coaches and the coaches tell them, okay, this, that, and the other, and then the financing piece is kind of like, oh, well, just go to Chat GPT and get a list, and then they get the list, and they may even say, I got one better. I know Ron Smith at this bank. Call Ron. He's going to help you. But Ron Smith can't guarantee he's going to give you a loan. So be very clear on what you need. Do you need a coach? Do you need consulting? Do you need financing? I tell people where I sit at is in the consulting piece and the financing piece. The consulting piece is, yes, there are business owners who come to me and they are running their business. They are not looking to attend a 10 different master classes, do put in 100 types of prompts to figure out a solution to what it is that they do. They will kindly pay a consulting fee to be able to get the result that they want. The financing piece, then, of course, I can assist with the financing piece as well, because I have lending relationships. I work as a broker and I can broker those. I originate loans. So I can do that piece too. Um, I will say this, and this has to do with the clarity. I mean, this has to do with the coaching, consulting, or financing. There are some industries, and this is almost like another piece to the financing piece, because I feel like it's all like, even though like being very clear, because this is all about things that you need to avoid. So the first one being not being clear, you want to be able to be clear. Like, you don't want to not be clear. And then number two, you want to not you want to know what it is that you want. And most people don't. They don't know if they need a coach, they need consulting, or if they just need the financing. Because some people know, like, oh, I know that I just need financing, because it goes back to with the CDFIs. CDFI can provide all that. They can work as your coach, and they can do all that stuff of, I'm just not clear on my business model. I want to buy this laundromat, but I just don't know how to do it. They can provide that. Now, unfortunately, most people may not like the way that they do it, because um it may not be in the same alignment of the influencer or the coach. I ran into that, where I know that I am not the person to work with a new business owner and get them SBA financing. That's not my wheelhouse. And the reason why I say that is because there are different needs that a brand new business owner needs. I feel like a CDFI, if I had to give a recommendation, is I tell a lot of them, go there, because they can provide resources, they can provide support. Because with a new business owner, they don't have no data with running a business. They just don't. So now what happens is that a lot of times, if they come from online, um, the only thing they're going on is the guru or the influencer that they may be part of their world. And now they're trying to mirror what it is that they do. There have been people where I know I don't serve them. It's not my group. gave them a recommendation. They didn't like the recommendation because the recommendation was not mirrored the same way of the guru. And and it goes back. That's why I say it defaults back to clarity, because most people, they're not clear. So this is a resource that could possibly help you get to your goal, but because you want to stay in alignment of what your guru is offering, that's why I said I don't do newbies. Like, I'm very clear on who I work with, and and I don't have no problem with offering, hey, this is a resource, because with me, and this is not to throw shade on what's on, what I see online, is I'm very clear on how I can help people. What I'm not never going to do is be salacious and have people to believe that something can, like I said, going back to, can guarantee you going to get an SBA loan, all this other stuff. Because anyone who is in the business, because there's a ton of people, and especially online, there's a ton of people who can chat GPT some stuff up, Google some stuff up, and give you information on SBA loans. But there's very few people who come from the origination space. They are online, but what you will know is that those who are originating loans, those who are brokering loans, and if they are doing it from an honest standpoint, they're not doing no guarantees, because you can't. There's a whole process that goes with underwriting. And many people who are originating loans and brokering them, you're not doing the underwriting. You're just not. So most people are not going to never guarantee that people are going to get an SBA. The people who guarantee people they're going to get an SBA loans are people who just are not even part of that world. They're the people who are just telling you, they're ushering the information. The chat GPT in it, Clauding it, and telling you, oh, this is how it's done. Or they may have their own story. So their data is just made up their one story of, this is what I did. But the thing is that when you are working with a bank, now you get to leverage the bank's data, because the bank has worked with hundreds or thousands of people versus the one person who is on the internet who, like I said, may have been able to garner all that success, but that's their one story, and it's hard to duplicate other people that same success, because now they got to be the same person that you are. They have to be you. It's not even a case of, well, you got to have this, that, and the other. They have to be you. And unfortunately, that's just not how humans are. Humans are not just another clone of that person. Anyone who has kids know, okay, kids come from you, but they are not a clone of you. They are their own person. So that's the same way with financing. Tons of people can give you information on SBA stuff. They'll usher that part where the line, it seems to, this is the distinction, when it crosses over the financing, because that part of the world, they are not even part of that world. They, like I said, they'll say, hey, go to Ron Smith. But Ron Smith, if he's being compliant, he's following the rules, he can't even guarantee you. All he can do is say, hey, based on if you have this, that, and the other, we can possibly get you a loan. But Ron Smith, if he's being compliant, can't even guarantee you finance. The third and final piece to avoid, if you literally want to take part in this wealth transfer, know the difference between grants and loans. This 10 million initiative by the SBA is loan financing. It's not a grant. I'm here to tell you, I don't do grants. I don't do SBA grants. Can't tell you about grants. I can only tell you about financing. This is not it. That 10 million is not the grant side. So there have been people who've come to me, and like I said, a lot of times they're not even the ideal person that I work with, but as a courtesy, I will give some distinction, because that's just the type of person I am. I'm never going to not, if I can, share some advice to them. but many people are putting the two worlds together. They're thinking there's grants and it's not a grant. This is loan financing. There's terms, there's conditions, and you have to qualify. And I know, like I said, the salacious side of it, and I'm not into confusing people, but if I wanted to confuse and be salacious, I could throw some grant language in it and all that other stuff. But that's just not how that world. That's not how I operate. So that I will say this is that know the distinction. If grants is what you're looking for, then by all means go and get a grant. But that 7A, that 504 money those are loans. Those are conditions. You got to qualify and hopefully you're going to pay it back. Um, that's a whole nother episode. But there you have it. So go, like I said, different type of approach for this SBA conversation. I've talked about SBA in the past. As I mentioned, all that will be under the show notes, but wanted to give a different perspective. Didn't want to come from a very salacious standpoint, like, oh, $10 million, free money from the government. Didn't want to come from that standpoint. Wanted to really talk to you from a standpoint of someone who brokers loans, who originate loans, and and what I'm seeing. But once again, if you are a real estate investor, small business owner who is looking to expand their real estate portfolio creatively, and you feel like SBA financing should be part of your funding tool, then let's have a conversation. As you can see right here on the podcast, for those who are watching, for those who are listening, of course, you can go to funds.neverloseadeal.com.